us through your experience as the Member of Parliament for Soufriere for St Jacques.
I would summarize my experience as very rewarding. You can believe I was first the parliamentary rep for Gruzile, sorry. And when I compare being a para rep for Gruzile versus a para rep for Soufriere for St Jacques, significant differences. First, it's when the people of Soufriere for St Jacques gave me an opportunity to transform this little space where I was born. So that to me was a very unique opportunity they gave me that I'm extremely grateful for. And I went all out to work with them, head of views. I didn't do it on my own, head of views. You know the number of engagements we had with them. I listened before the election, hear what they wanted. They wanted changes at the foundation. They wanted physical changes. I listened to them. And then when they elected me, I started implementing it. And that implementation was a labor of love. I would say that it was a labor of love. But in implementing, I realized that I needed to pay a lot of attention to the human capital. I realized our young people, when I engaged them, quite a few of them didn't know what they wanted to do. There were jobs and they were not qualified to fill these jobs. So we had to start for the first more than 2 years. I focused quite a bit on trying to get training for the people. And I really want to take this moment to thank Mr. Uji and the Soufriere Foundation for assisting me in that regard. We ended up with the recent training for plumbers, 25 plumbers, the recent training ongoing now for AC technicians, all within AC technicians are about 30 persons who are now doing that course. It's to respond to the gaps in skills that's in the constituency. You have here quite a bit of Airbnb places, you have the hotels with the ACs, and you had to get technicians all the time from outside of Soufriere, so we had to address that.
All right. A labor of love.
It's a labor of love.
Help us understand, though, while it was all out of love, what has been possibly the biggest challenge that you faced representing this constituency? And of course, tell us how it has shaped you as a leader.
Oh, so there are different challenges. The first one to me was to get our young people to understand that they needed to have a force to improve themselves. To me, that was a challenge. You engage them and they didn't see the tomorrow in terms of getting qualified, getting a skill. Because they came in and they want a bumps and job. I want a job now and I want to get paid now. But to develop themselves, to prepare them for the major opportunities, there's always a challenge to get them to apply. And I mean, just a hustle. I remember times engaging the Minister of Education, and he's always telling me that your people are not applying. But now I'm seeing a shift in that, and we are not there yet, but I'm seeing a shift. So I'm pleased about that. Other concerns was, well, you know, and I don't think it's only for Soufriere. Our constituent they have a need, and they come to you and they want you to deliver it now. And most times I tell them, you know, I'm God's daughter, but I'm not God. So I've got to go and ask somebody else. I've got to call one of my colleagues. I've got to go to the Prime Minister. But that's a challenge. It's to tell persons, look, we know that you have a need. You know there's a need in the community that we need to address, but we need a bit of patience on your part.
All right. And how would you say that shaped you as a leader or changed your leadership style per se?
Well, there's not. One thing that I've learned, and I guess because of my age and experience, is that you have to be resilient. You have to listen. You have to understand that people come to you based on their own background. So I think as long as I put that in context, is how we communicate with people at the end to say, look, I'm working on that issue for you. Or whether I can guide them sometimes in terms of some of the action that they need to take. Um, I think that's important. Because a lot of people come, but they don't even know how. And I remember very clearly when I was the director at the NIC, persons used to come to the institution again with a lot of requests. And I realized that the institution was not shaped. That was not the purpose of that institution. And as a result of that, I was able to sit down and put together the idea to form the National Community Foundation.
Nice.
So that addressed that, the philanthropic end, and putting an institution that is focused on assisting, helping persons who want to make a contribution, whether it's $1, to put it there, and also persons who need help can go there and to get it.
All right. So let's talk about the last 4.5
Yeah.
years. Help us understand your most significant accomplishments as the MP for Soufriere for St Jacques. What would you put in your top 10?
Ooh. As I said, the whole issue of human capital for me is extremely important. I started that and I want to continue that. I really want to continue that. You see the work that I'm doing in Barons right now, go in there, take the shops, hold their hands, help them apply for the MSME loan program, transforming their lives. The young boys the same way. The work I am doing in St Jacques with the Soufriere, the St Jacques Development Committee, so that we do something similar for the population of St Jacques to turn it into an agro-tourism park, and the work that we want to do in Palmis so that we can transform Palmis together with the people of Palmis. To me, that is where I change people from the core. We take them from one level and we rise with them. We show them the way.
All right. Now, given this is what you place the most emphasis on, how do you respond to critics who say the former MP would have done a lot more for Soufriere than you would have?
Well, the persons who would say so don't understand development. They see development as only physical infrastructure. But I can also tell them and correct them, as I've done in the past. The projects that the former MP is claiming is not his. So we must put the record straight. Mr. Dalson started the bus terminal, Mr. Dalson started the square. The former MP completed it. So we must speak the truth with a bit of clarity. He completed something that was started by Harold Dalson on both occasions.
Okay, now I understand where one set of people will see infrastructure, of course, as development, and you, on the other hand, would see social development, human development as development. How do we get to a point where we do both and we get in the middle where we do the physical, but we also develop the people?
That is why I said the first 2 years I focused on what I thought was a deficit in Soufriere. And we continue focusing on the human capital development. But you realize that at the same time, I focused on some infrastructure work. When you look at the admin building, what you call our old town hall that was standing there all the time, we felt we needed to put an administrative center in Soufriere, because you know Soufriere do not have what you call a human resource center. We don't have one. And this is a huge, the population don't have a place even to have a proper meeting. So I'm happy the Prime Minister has agreed to give us the center, some $25 million for this admin building. So when at the end of it, when this admin building is completed, this one project would overshadow all of what our former MP has put in. Then you look at what we have done with the road between Soufriere up to Mini. This particular road is a major highway for the people of St Jacques, Saint Philippe, Clare, Crestland. It has never received significant attention for the past 30 years. So again, so when you talk about persons saying that we have not done anything, They know. They choose to give incorrect information. When you look at what we've done in terms of housing, and again, when you looked at the situation in Palmis and Market Road, the Palmis Estate and Market Road, Palmis Estate was constructed after the fire, 60 something years ago. They had never received any attention. The Blackstone part of that project was covered with asbestos, which is a cancer causing agent. We came in and we said we were going to change it, and we changed it for the people of Palmis and Market Road. We also went to the other areas that had the dilapidated zinc covering, and we changed it for the entire 80 apartments that were there. Some persons are UWP, some persons are SLP, but we covered where it was needed. We did that.
All right. Now we're going to dive more into the political aspect because, of course, we're a few days away from the election, and there are certain complaints that you hear not just in Soufriere but around the island. How do you address concerns that people say they only see their MP closer to election time?
Oh, that's
Is
not,
that something
that is
that
not
Emma
for
Hippolyte
Auntie Emma. You know
has
that.
done?
You
Or
know that.
has Emma Hippolyte shown us different politics in the last 4 years?
I believe I would say a different politics. Emma Hippolyte has been Emma Hippolyte. And people interaction is my strength. I'm in the market every other Saturday. I engage my people. There are persons there from Soufriere, St Jacques, all the quarters, in addition to persons from other parts of the country. In my office here, I saw people from Suzel, I saw people from Tanneries, they came here in this office. It was an office, I'm a parliamentarian, and I serve the people, and I serve their needs. When they came here, I never asked them whether they were SLP or UWP. Some of my supporters are upset with me because I assisted persons that I know were on the other side. But there was a need, and we addressed it. And that is what good governance is all about.
All right. So there will be no need for more visibility from this MP or a different communication style should she be re-elected. That's what you're saying, right?
No, I've been there. I've been there. They've seen me in the funerals every day, not just as election is there. They've seen me at whatever invitation. As long as they invite me early enough, I make myself available.
All right. So tell us, why should Soufriere for St Jacques re-elect Emma Hippolyte as the MP?
Because out of the two candidates, she's the better candidate. She's more capable. She has delivered more to the people. In addition to that, our government of the Saint Lucia Labour Party has delivered in a way that has surprised all of Saint Lucia. We have delivered social projects, physical projects. When you look, for example, what we've done with our farmers, when I go into St Jacques, I don't have to ask anything, and they just bring the dash in. They just bring the dash in, so I don't have to ask. I've brought in the Taiwanese there to help St Jacques. And I can tell you, you've seen a movement. I would like to see it at a faster pace. It is significant improvement with that project in St Jacques. When you see what I'm doing, what I've done in Bouton, and what I plan to do in Bouton in terms of putting the bus by, changing the atmosphere in there, but also going in and ensuring we are now talking with the Archbishop so that the lands in Bouton can be owned by the people of Bouton. That's a big project for us. The people of Bouton must take it seriously and put Emma Hippolyte, who's representing them. The people of Chateau Bel-Air, in terms of putting for them, the government has purchased the land to put an HRDC for the people of Chateau Bel-Air. And we've started the Donfield Road. The people of Chateau Bel-Air will vote Emma Hippolyte. The people of Mont-la-Croix who requested a road, that road has started, they will vote Emma Hippolyte. The people of Fongelib, we have received lands for them for the entertainment center. We've received 5 acres of land from Unionville. We have expanded the parking area. The people at Fongelib that was strong UWP and now voting the St. Lucia Labour Party. When you go to Zeno, another strong UWP stronghold, I have gone in there and put a multipurpose court. There's a shift at Zeno. The people of Zeno are voting the St. Lucia Labour Party. You've seen the roads in Wingsville. For 40-something years, some of these roads has not been touched. We are putting new roads in Wingsville. We have touched every community. To the people of Soufriere for St Jacques, will be voting Emma Hippolyte on Monday morning.
All right. And I'm glad that you've already jumped the gun and you've spoken about some of the projects that you are going to continue with if you are re-elected. But let us know what your priorities will be. Of course, you said this time around it was human capital, human development. If you are given another 5 years, what are some of the things that you are looking forward to doing for Soufriere for St Jacques?
Huge things. Because you realize I spoke about repairing houses. Now we need to have some new houses, especially for our young persons who are coming up. Because now as a young person, if you want to purchase land to build a house, you have to go out into Soufriere. We are looking at space so that we can put some structures in place for young persons. So new housing for Soufriere is important. Our new hospital is important because we sort of deferred and give priority to St. Jude's because of the importance of St. Jude's nationally to us and to the country. But as you see, we are very close to starting construction of the new hospital. Our seniors home is a project very close to my heart. And when you look around Soufriere, we have our own social challenges, and we have a lot of our seniors who, when you interact with them, you go to their homes, they don't have a proper meal, they don't get their medications on time, they're missing the love and attention that they deserve as seniors. And I'm pleased that our Prime Minister has placed monies in the budget, so you'll see the commencement of the Soufriere Seniors Daycare. That is a project close to my heart. You will see the Margaretwood Beach receiving significant attention because the people of Soufriere, we have just this little piece by Beach Park. The people of Soufriere deserve pristine, nice beach. And also, as you see, the hotels there at the moment are overcrowded, so we are going to develop the Margaretwood Beach. We have conversation as well with tourism to see how we develop the Asmao Beach on the other side so that unchastity and that the overcrowding there can be addressed. So there are a lot of things that we are working on. The factory area in particular for me is critical. See that factory there? That land space there, how we develop it and turn it into a commercial hub for Soufriere. We have the GPH project that is going to roll out. So there is every reason for the people of Soufriere to continue the forward march. There's no turning back.
All right. Now we would have seen the extensive damage that Hurricane Beryl would have done to Soufriere, unfortunately. If re-elected, help us understand how you are going to assist with stronger disaster resilience projects, especially after heavy rains. We have lots of land slippage in Soufriere for St Jacques. How will your term address drainage, landslides, disaster preparedness for the community?
In fact, there is one project that's very important as it relates to the environment that I forgot to mention, and that is the waterways project with Sonia Casabon. That is a very important project for us in terms of ensuring that we clean up our rivers and people are conscious of the environmental impact of that. Where we have our pig pens, that project is a very important project. It has implications for all of the constituents as well as the users of our beaches. That's an important project. In terms of the environment, we have the geothermal project, which is another big project. It's a national project, which is taking place. You have 2 of the wells being dug in Soufriere. One in Belvedere and the other in Belle Plaine. That project has significant implications for us as it relates to clean energy. That's an important part for us, an important project, and that is ongoing. The issue that we've raised in terms of slope stabilization is another critical one. And I've started the conversation with the Development Control Authority, because if you realize somewhere, if you look across the bay or upon to the Anchasney Road there, somebody started a house and it has caused some land slippage. When you drive up to Castridge, you can see it all the time. Significant movement. The conversation has started. We'll be needing a lot more technical personnel to determine how we stabilize our slopes. From the travelings that I have done throughout the world, I've seen some significant slope stabilization work in Sicily, in Italy, in Hong Kong. I have seen that as well in one of the South American countries. So there is work to be done, but it's not going to be cheap work. But we need to stabilize the slopes. And again, it's public education, because we had a slippage in Fourbenet, for example, and it's because of poor drainage from a house at the top, just sending water onto another property, caused a significant landslide in the person's yard. So again, a lot of conversation, maybe some of our policies as well. We might have to assist persons in terms of drainage and so on, especially in the slopey areas, but I believe it's an area that requires attention.
All right. Now, I know you said you placed a lot of emphasis on the youth in your tenure. Moving forward, should you be re-elected, how do you plan on expanding certain opportunities for youth, employment, entrepreneurship, skills training, sports? How do you plan on continuing what you have started and doing better for them?
Okay, that's a good question. You may recall, you as a member of the Soufriere Youth Council, I believe that there is need for more collaboration and communication between my office and the Youth Council. I am of that view, because if we sit, when we sit, we can do things faster and better together. So I would want us to have greater dialogue, and not only between the Youth Council and my office, but also with the youth. We want them to be at the table. If you realize at our session for Soufriere 2040, there's a section impacting the youth. So now we want to implement that with their involvement. As I said, I'm meeting footballers this afternoon. I just want to engage them to hear what their views are, because we know our Soufriere Stadium, because of challenges at the places, is being used a lot nationally, and it is impacting our own local sports. So I really want to speak with our footballers to hear their concerns. I know they have concerns, and how I can assist them.
All right. Now, I'm glad you brought up Soufriere 2040, but we'll get to it a little later. Of course, tourism is one of Soufriere's, well, technically Soufriere's backbone. We are
The heartbeat of tourism.
yes, the breadbasket of St. Lucia, if I do say so myself. What strategies are you looking to propose to ensure locals, youth, etc., benefit more directly from the tourism economy? Not just, of course, with the hotels and the employment, but we've seen come on stream community tourism. So how do you, or what are you proposing for Soufrierians to tap directly into that economy?
Yeah, it's a very good question, but if you realize that two of the projects that I mentioned is just to address just that, and that's the whole improvement to the Barons Drive area. The transformation of the Soufriere waterfront would have implications for tourism, because we have quite a few. Last year we had about 60 high-end visits from high-end yachts. The people of Soufriere for St Jacques must benefit directly from that. And that is why, in terms of the GPH project, we are improving Barons Drive. Not only the physical improvement, as I said, but going into the shops and helping the people directly, training them to provide new products, and also working with the unemployed youth there so that they can start their own businesses and benefit directly. We are doing a similar project with St Jacques. The St Jacques Agro-Tourism Park is to cause our visitors to get into St Jacques, to improve, and what we're trying to do, improve the rum shops and the restaurants that exist there now, upgrade them, train the people, go into, let those persons with farms open their farms and offer new products to our visitors. That is what that is about. So we want another area for us. Soufriere has a lot of Airbnbs. How do we market them together? It's to bring them together in an association so that they can improve the quality of their services.
All right. Now, one issue that is of national importance, of course, we are currently on homicide number 66 for 2025. What steps will you take, concrete steps that you will take to address the issues of youth development to ensure that our young people do not turn into a life of violence? I mean, we have seen a few examples in Soufriere, of course, where our young people have unfortunately gone down that path.
And at another interview this morning, I sort of raised that issue because what I was seeing was the former MP, my opponent, on his platform came the accusation that the people of Barons Drive are beggars. And that has inflamed the people, very upset, the people of Barons Drive. And I saw I'm told of a fake Facebook page where I am accusing the people of Palmas of whatever derogatory terms, in derogatory terms. I'm saying this to say that as leaders, we have responsibility to ensure that we have an environment of peace, an environment where persons are happy, not only in Soufriere, but in all of St. Lucia. We also have a responsibility to ensure that we have programs where our young persons have an opportunity to develop themselves, whether it is in sports, whether it is in education, whether it is skills, so that they are pulled away from a life of crime and violence. There's significant work that we have to do. It's throughout the country. Unfortunately, we don't have enough control over our social media because that also fuels that. Our young people are of the view, they see things on social media, they import. A lot of what is happening to us is imported. It's imported. So how do we put programs in place? I believe we have to start from the cradle. The education of parenting. Our parents need to do a lot more as parents. And anytime, as you know, if you have attended one of the school graduations, continue to speak to parents. I continue to speak to teachers and to thank teachers for the work that they're doing. But where we are now, it is a phase where we have to pull back and see what steps we have to take gradually. Because we didn't reach here today. It is a gradual, not addressed time of not addressing. And it has reached a point now where when you look, you ask, people are shooting their friends. And then you say, well, what's behind it? What causes a human being to take the life of their friend? So I don't know what it is. It is beyond my understanding because that's not the way I was raised, but I continue to engage our young people. For example, yesterday I was in Palmas, and I was pleased that some of the parents are now saying, we need help to stop some of the things. And to me, that is the first step. People need to realize that we are not in a good space. I had a meeting with them last week and I raised it. But now the parents are saying, and some of the young men were there, we need help to stop what is happening. So I'm giving a commitment that I will work with my government, because the commitment that the Prime Minister, every member of Parliament that I know sitting across the cabinet table, everyone is concerned about crime and violence, and every one of us would want it to stop.
All right. Now, tell us some of the things that happened behind the scenes that voters may not necessarily know of when it comes to politics, or maybe just fun facts that people may not know. They see you as an MP, they make requests, like you said, they have demands, but there are things that happen behind the scenes that they don't know. So walk us through, behind the scenes of Emma Hippolyte, the Member of Parliament.
Behind the scenes as a politician,
Yes, as a politician.
well, I can tell you, you get up in the morning, you say your prayers, you go to church, you get energized, and you put your sneakers. That is when I'm a parliamentary rep. As a minister, you get up in the morning, you say your prayers, you go to church, and you go to that ministry. And your focus is on delivering to the people. When you think of, for example, and I say it all the time, to remind St. Lucians that anytime they purchase a loaf of bread, that this government has paid part of that bread. Anytime they put on the stove, this government, or the St. Lucia Labour Party, has paid $15, $20 on that tank of gas for them. When you look at the programs that we have, when you look at the minimum wage, it is a group of men and women who sat and say, we know there's things that we cannot control and there are things that we can control. We cannot control the high prices of goods that are coming at our borders, but at least we can control taking off the service charge, taking off the VAT, so that our persons can shop at something less than what it is. So the subsidies that we've had, when our Prime Minister paid pensioners and our Prime Minister increased the pension for pensioners, it's a person with a conscience, a person with compassion that is going to sit down and say, okay, so let's look at this person who's getting a pension of $300. You know what $300 is. Before you make a swing, it's finished. And then we have to improve on that. So behind the scene all the time, I say it all the time, that's not the first time I'm saying it. All the time, every Monday, we put you, the people first. Whether it is youth, whether it is children going to school, pregnant mothers, every Monday we are fighting. Each constituency, each parliamentary rep is focusing on an area in his or her constituency that requires attention. And we go in and we knock on the door and we ask and we ask, and then we get it. The Prime Minister, in his wisdom, because he prioritizes what we should do first, what should we do second. As a cabinet, we discuss it, but we always say we need to have each other's back. We need to support each other. And that is what I want all of St. Lucia to understand, that we need to support each other. We need to share what we have. To me, that's a lesson. We need to share what we have.
All right. Now, I know you would have seen social media, maybe even in real life, that during the silly season, people really do get very silly. We have fights, all in the name of politics. We have arguments, all in the name of politics. Is it a known fact that whether on either end of the spectrum, that you guys yourself engage in that kind of behavior, or are politicians actually friends behind the scenes? Or do you guys engage in the same behavior that your supporters engage in?
No. Because I will not, and I wanted to correct you there in terms of the silly season. I don't think I have done any silly thing. I have remained very focused. I have remained very focused. And my focus is on serving the people of Soufriere for St Jacques. I have not accused persons. I have not called anybody any names that they are not. I always say focus on the truth. Say if you have done something, say you have done it. If you have not done it, say you have not done it. But don't say you have done things that you have not done. Don't accuse persons of doing things that they have not done. That is not nice. It's not Christian. Not Christian. So, on my platform, my performance, the things that I have done. And generally, I don't even like talking about it because I did it out of a labor of love, a life of service.
Right, all right. Now you have told us what it is that you plan on working on. Um,
There are
tell
a lot of
us,
other things.
yes, and I'm sure there are lots of other things that you will work on if you are re-elected.
When?
Well, I guess that is for December 1st to decide. Um, what is one promise that you hold dear to your heart that you would definitely want your constituents to hold you accountable for if you are re-elected on December 1st?
That I continue to put them first. That's a commitment we made, and I've said it before, I take it almost as my national anthem. Putting the people first. Hold me accountable to that. That the decisions that I have to make when I sit in that office and this hall is full there, everything that I have, everything that I receive from the Prime Minister, I share it. I don't have any family. That's why they want to accuse me of family and friends. That's not there. Emma Hippolyte has shared what has been received.
Now, I would love to talk to you for the entire day, but,
Yes.
that cannot happen. But I want to know, as a female politician, as an
Yeah.
older woman, let's address the issue of age and gender. And what do you say to people who say Emma Hippolyte is an older woman and she should not be contesting anymore? She's old, she's tired, she's female. This is not a job for Emma Hippolyte. What do you say to people who say that you should not be contesting elections again?
Because they do not know what it is to be experienced. You see, persons look at individuals, and I am very pleased that we're having young persons coming in elective politics. Don't get me wrong. I'm pleased that we have Lisa and we have Shanda coming in. They're coming in. You yourself should be one coming in, Janine. Oh, she changed your mind. I thought at one point you told me yes, but you changed your mind. I welcome young people coming in. But I think it's an error when people think that because somebody is older, that person should be put aside. I am representing all the experienced people around the place who have knowledge. Because I stand sometimes as an experienced person at the bank, and I see the teller taking 30 minutes on a transaction. And to me, she should take 5 minutes because there's an absence of knowledge. And that is where I come in. Full of knowledge, full of wisdom, given to me by God. And I share it every day. So they asked, we had nomination day was an example for me. Nomination day, we decided that we're going to Barons Drive. We went into new development. We went into Fort Benny, and when we reached Fort Benny, everybody wanted to come back to town. I said, no, we're going to new development. And I have two young men who are footballers, and they're screaming. And I know they were not fit. And I was able to walk the entire process and come back. That's physical fitness, but there is also mental fitness, emotional intelligence. That is where we come in, the seniors. And we need to show the way. Share our knowledge. Don't hold it to ourselves, but share it with the younger ones. So, I say all the time, I'm contented. I don't have to be in politics. I don't have to do anything. The only thing I have to do now is to give God thanks and die. I choose, with the knowledge and experience that He has given me and the wisdom, to serve my people. I'm thankful they've given me the opportunity to serve them, and I will do so to the best of my ability.
So, in your plans for Soufriere, you mentioned that there will be a new hospital, but of course, priority was given to St. Jude, and now that that project has been completed, we will move on to Soufriere. What we want to know is what should we expect? We do have a Soufriere hospital, so what exactly will be the difference? What is this new hospital going to provide? For our community of Soufriere for Saint Jacques?
It's an important question because the existing hospital, current hospital, as you know, at one point, maybe you might not know, but when I was a kid, this hospital was operating as a full hospital with patient care and everything else. It has had maybe 2 or 3 fires, and the physical, what you call the accommodation part of that hospital has been diminished to almost zero. So now you have a room where you accommodate both male and female, and with a limited number. I want to say thank you to Sugar Beach for assisting us in terms of bringing in some new equipment and improving the physical structure and making it a lot more comfortable for our patients at the Soufriere Hospital now. But the new hospital, one of the critical things that has happened that we need to have at this hospital, we have a surgical ward here, as well as a maternity ward, because right now, you cannot, or people ought not to have children at the Soufriere Hospital. That is included in there. Also, there are specialized areas, for example, there is going to be a chamber for persons that, say, for example, if you have a diver, persons, we have a lot of scuba diving taking place in Soufriere. So there's a hyperbaric chamber at that hospital, things like that.
All right.
Significant a lot more bed space at the hospital, because as you know, when you think of Soufriere, if you have an emergency, if there's any disaster, you cannot move people both to Vieux-Fort and Castries. So it was important to have this hospital.
All right. But help me understand actually the change in location. I think that is something that some of us don't necessarily understand.
Because this hospital was considered at risk with the river. Because especially after hurricanes, you'd have water coming through the entire hospital, below the hospital, and the entire road. That is why a decision was taken to relocate it.
Okay, understood. We spoke a lot about youth, but like you said, you have engaged the footballers, but we do have lots of other types of sporting being done in Soufriere. Soufriere Comprehensive, of course, would be a very good example of the athletes that we have that are up and coming. We have track and field, we have netball, we have basketball. Let us know your plans for sports on the whole in Soufriere.
Definitely, you raise the issue of netball. St Jacques has a court, and St Jacques, I want to thank Vern Alexander for the work that she's doing as a coach. A lot of our St Jacques girls are on the national team and doing very well. We have less of this in Soufriere, so definitely we need to improve or get a netball court in Soufriere. We started looking at it, and the cost of what was proposed to us was very prohibitive. So we are actually looking to see how best we can address that. We definitely need a netball court in Soufriere town, although we believe that we could do some upgrades to the one at the Soufriere Comprehensive School. So that is netball. I also want to take this moment to congratulate our basketballers. They have been doing very well, and at the moment I think they are overseas representing us. So again, it's to work with them, get them the national profile that they want, but at the same time to see where can we send them for training. For track and field, we have the school in Roosevelt. How do we identify our young people and send them there. I know, for example, for the past 2 or 3 months, I've met at least 2 young persons who are interested in track and field and had left school and did not get themselves onto um, the school in Rosalie. And I'm committing myself to do a lot more to see from Soufriere Comprehensive, these children are transferred to the school in Rosalie so that they can specialize and that they can achieve the best that they can.
All right, and of course, you know, another contentious sport in Soufriere is cricket.
Yes.
So, what do you have in place for your cricketers if you are re-elected?
I want us to put on record that the former parliamentary rep was the one that caused us, based on what he has put, the covering that he has put on the field. So we cannot have cricket there. Technically, he has killed cricket in Soufriere. Now, you know, one challenge we have, sorry, is a whole issue of space in Soufriere. In order to get an alternative cricket ground is a challenge. We are looking, but I'm hoping that we can get one. But we'll have to acquire the land. But we have looked at 2 areas. The area opposite on the Diamond Stretch, we have looked at it. We'll assess it again. The owners, when we first engaged the owners, they were not willing to part with it. But it is an area, it's an issue that we are going to give priority this next day.
All right. We spoke about employment. Let's
Sorry.
speak to what it is you have in mind, the proposals that you are going to put in place to ensure that, like you said, our young people don't just do bounce and draw, that they are fully and properly employed long term. And of course, how you plan on assisting with that. Not just, of course, I guess, in our tourism sector, because we can see Soufriere has lots of hotels and our youth are employed there. But what other avenues are you looking at tapping into?
Even with tourism, I mean, we have quite a few of our staff, of our youth working at the hotels. Yes, but most of them, maybe you have to look at what are the skill sets they need to move up. It's one thing to go in and work at the bar or serve in the restaurant. We need to have a proper training of an area where our youth can get support so that they can move up the management ladder in the tourism sector. That's what they deserve. That is one area for us. I know we have quite a few chefs. Soufriere, we have quite a few chefs, and I want to commend them, Chef Eli and all the rest of them, for the good works that they're doing. But how do we take that and let them start their own restaurants in Soufriere? The uniqueness of our product, how do we do that? Because they're now working for persons all the time. When you look at what I want to do within the Palanese area, for example, there is going to be an incubator. So persons that have a skill, person who can do, for example, manufacturing, and their homes are not at the level where they can manufacture there. If you have a proper incubator area, they can come there, use space there, and do what they have to do within an area that will meet international standards. That is important for us. We want to have a section, an area where almost like a BDO, where you have it's not really a call center, but a little higher than that. If you have a structure there, then you can get investors to come in, and 200-300 of our persons could be trained and employed. So we have plans for that.
What is one message that you want every voter to hear before December 1st?
Vote for the St. Lucia Labour Party so that our government will continue pushing this country forward so that all of us can move forward together. In God's name, let there be peace, let there be progress, and let there be victory.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hippolyte. It was an absolute pleasure. interviewing you this morning.
You are most welcome.